What's up? What's up? Just checking out the stream. Everything looks pretty good. Saying hi to my people out there. How's everyone doing today? I got my eyes on the chat. You can say hi to JP. Who is Brad? How you doing? Looks like we've got a nice little crew. YouTube. Everyone's hanging out on YouTube today. Everything's looking cool. Yeah. Phasic, how you doing? Long time. James, how you been, man? Excited to be back at it with you guys. Kind of having flashbacks to COVID days being on the live stream all the time, you know? But you guys can hear me okay? Levels are all right? I'm excited to get into this with y'all. It's Live 12 release day, so totally psyched about all the new features in Live 12 and, of course, the Push 3. And we got a lot of fun things to cover today, so let's go. Full Metal Turntablist, Dalton. Hey, Dalton, how you doing, buddy? It's good to see everyone out there hanging out. I haven't been streaming much since, the pandemic lifted, but now that we've got a good reason to get down, I figured it'd be a good chance. I'm glad to hear, James Fazik, that you're feeling better and you're back in the mix, dude. You're getting better, man. I'm sending love your way. Shoot me an email sometime or maybe a DM on Discord so we can stay in touch. But yeah, I got a lot of things to be excited about nowadays. Just finished my second book, finishing it. It's pretty much done. Now Dalton, who's in the chat and Facebook, that ball is in his court. So Dalton, let me know how that goes. That's going to be Sound Design for Electronic Music Part 2, and that one's going to focus on sampling, advanced sampling, multi-sampling techniques, and advanced synthesis and effects processing. So it's going to be a lot of fun to have you guys maybe checking that thing out. You can get those books on Amazon. Or if you come through to Slam, I'll hook you up. So yeah, it's Live 12 release day. I got the call yesterday afternoon. They decided they were going to make the announcement today, so I was up until 4 in the morning shooting these videos, and then I got up at 7 o'clock. And so, I don't know, I got a lot of adrenaline right now, so I probably won't be falling asleep. But if I pass out, Dalton, call me. You're on the wake up duty. Yeah, I got my coffee, though. I'll be all right. So yeah, it's happy hour. It's Live 12 release day. We're going to have some fun today. Looks like we got a nice amount of people over on YouTube, a handful of folks on Facebook and Twitch and stuff too. So it's great to have you guys. Got my Minecraft coffee mug. It's a gift from my kids. It's cool. So yeah, this is Live 12 and we're here to get down. I've got about an hour or so before I got to head to the studio, but let's go ahead and slide that thing into the screen here and kick it. So, yeah, now you guys can see the chat that everyone else is talking about. And so, yeah, you're here in Slam Academy's social media channels. We're honored to have you guys here. My name is James Patrick. Most of you guys already know me. I've been a contractor with the Ableton education team for 20 years now. So I've been around Ableton since live version 2, and coming up on version 12 here is really exciting. So for the next few months, you guys are going to be learning stuff about Live 12. Get yourself in line for the public beta if you want to try it out. If you own the Live suite, that'll get you access. And yeah, today we're just going to talk about the new features. I've been running it for a couple months. There still are a few things in there that I'm like, okay, how does this work? So we might bump into a couple things today while we're streaming where I'm going to be like, oh, wait, that's not working quite right. And it's totally my fault. The beta has been super solid, and I've just been really loving its behavior in general. Oftentimes early betas are not super stable, but this thing has just been really, really solid. So really psyched about how well it's working and all the new features, and I'm psyched to share these features with you. So I want to say hi to, Panda Cookies is back. Yes. Good. Panda Cookies was keeping me spunky in the chat this morning in our first stream. That was a really fun time, and I'm glad to have you back. And yeah, Dalton and James Fazik and Full Metal Turntablist, who is Brad, everyone else out there, thanks for being here. Feel free to heckle me all you want. I'm very humble, but also cocky at times, so feel free to rip on me and cut me down a couple notches. I welcome it. And but yeah, again, my name is James Patrick. If anyone has any specific questions about how to make music using your computer, you can hit me up, jp@slamacademy.com. Nice. I got a question already. Does Live 11 license automatically update to 12? The answer is no. So with Ableton, they do automatic updates on all their like decimal points, so like tenths and hundredths and thousandths. If it's live 11.3 or whatever, they're gonna be, that's always free. But then whenever they go up a whole integer number, that's when there's a pay upgrade. So if you don't already own Ableton, I'm trusting pretty much all of you do, but if you don't, you can get a membership at Slam Academy for as cheap as $100 and then get access to their educational discount, which is 40% off of Ableton. So that'll save you like almost $400. So it's kind of a no-brainer. Even if you don't even use the membership, just sign up and get the discount. But obviously you want to use the membership. But yeah, Full Metal Turntablist points something out that I wasn't aware of that happened this morning. One of our people in the chat mentioned that if you own the Live 11 suite, you'll get a pre-order option for 20% off. And upgrades in the past have been $340, $360. But now, based on what I've been learning from people, because I don't get this information, is that the 20% off thing gets you down to about $150, right around there, 160. And that is really, really cheap for this amazing upgrade. So I would definitely, there's a link right there. Thanks a lot. Helping me out. Full Metal. Thanks a ton. Yeah, I know almost everything about Ableton, but there are quite a few actually like customer facing things that they don't tell me. And so I appreciate you guys filling me in on those details because, I'm on the education team. And so I'm up in it all the time. And any offers they make to y'all, it's cool for me to know. So thanks for the information. I was really happy to see that the upgrade path is cheaper, and with the discount, I would definitely get on that. And if you're not sure, maybe you will be after we monkey around with this for a few minutes. So again, if anyone has any questions or just wants to, make fun of me, go for it in the chat. I'm keeping an eye on you. And then meanwhile, I got Ableton up here. And we're going to spend a little time just dinking around with it. I'm going to show off all the new features, and I'm going to try and be pretty smooth with this. But definitely, like you guys will have questions as we go, and just fire them off because I'm watching the chat. So without further ado, here it is. So Ableton 12, you've probably watched some videos. We posted a really cool video this morning, a couple of them actually. But Live 12 comes with a whole bunch of really fun features. Some of them are just like workflow kind of smoother out kind of deals that are just going to help your workflow be a little more smooth. Some of them are like musical tools that are going to just help your music sound better. And then, of course, there are a handful of really great things in the toolbox, like new devices. There's a new audio effect called Roar that's out of control. Amazing for fans of Isotope Saturn, like multi-band spectral distortion effect. That's really fun. We're going to talk about today. And then there's also the Granulator 3 is included in Live 12. So for those of you who have effed around with the Granulator, it is one of my all-time favorite virtual instruments. And the Granulator 3 just blows the previous versions out of the water. So it's so nice sounding and just beautiful. And I always found the Granulator was a little hard to make sound great unless you were really good at it. But I think they've really sorted that out. It just sounds awesome all the time. So that's going to be fun to cover. And then, yeah, we'll start with the simple stuff and we'll move our way towards like the instruments and effects and all that. So I'm going to try and do this over the next hour. So probably a little after 6, I'm going to need to cut. So let's dive in. So Ableton, again, also another thing, if there's ever any audio hiccups or if anyone can't hear me or whatever, just please let me know in the chat. So Live 12's right on the screen right now. It's an amazing interface. There's a lot of little subtle things you'll notice right away. They moved the color coding of the tracks down to the bottom of the tracks because you spend a lot of time focusing on the clip window down here or the device window. And that way you can totally keep a little visual eye of what tracks are what. That really helps a lot. And then in addition to that, if you do have a clip up, this will actually allow you to not only see the clip, but if you have a device on the track, like for instance, if I have a wavetable on the track, you'll notice right down here I have these 2 disclosure triangles. I can show or hide the wavetable, and then I can also show or hide the clip. And if you're familiar with Ableton, before we had to hit Shift Tab like all the time. We're getting carpal tunnel flipping between the clip window and the device window. And now they call it a stacked detail view. So you can see the clip and you can see the device at the same time, which is amazing. And then the other thing that is simple, but most nerds are just like, ooh, is if you go over to the arrangement view, I'm going to hide that empty clip window and I hit Option Command M. I can now see the mixer on the arrangement view. So this is really tight. So if I have a song rolling, I can adjust my levels and apply things to the mix while I'm watching the arrangement. And I can even see the clip too. So there's like stacked details that you can totally pile up over here. Sometimes it might even be fun just to keep the mixer running. And you can pull this up nice and tall. Look at how sexy that looks. Oh my goodness. So there's a whole bunch of other fun interface things, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up a sketch that I've got pulled up, or that I've been working on this past couple days, because I think it might be fun to listen to some stuff too as we go. So yeah, if you're just showing up, I'm JP at slamacademy.com. I'm an Ableton certified trainer, and I have been actually this is my 16th year working as a certified trainer with Ableton, and my 20th year being a contractor for Ableton. So I don't want to say I know everything about Ableton, but pretty damn close. And so I'm really excited and honored to be in this position to share this stuff with you. This stream is 480p on YouTube. Let's see, how do I fix that? 480p, it means it's like low res. I wonder do you know how I would fix that? I don't even know. Ableton Live Producer. I'm going to take a look at that myself real quick. I don't want it to be low res, that would be sad. The little I know about P, I know that 480 is not a lot of P. So let's take a little look at that. Maybe it's just stream settings on YouTube. I'm just going to go right to the live stream. Just take one sec. Maybe I can multitask. Anything else cool you see on the screen right now on the interface? I can tell you right now, one of the big updates is right up here on top, is we have a scale aware function on the control bar. And this is going to allow us to actually tell our entire session what key we want to be in, and then all sorts of functions, in particular involving MIDI, of course, will be able to behave in a scale-aware sense. And so all that means is that your MIDI clips, as well as your MIDI effects and other fun functionalities like key tracking and resonators and stuff, can all stay in key all the time, and that is really dope. So let's see, I'm on my YouTube channel. How do I change the settings of the stream in YouTube? Maybe I need to do this on Restream. Now you guys are like tech supporting me on my stream. Nobody pointed that out this morning. I wonder what the deal is with that. Let me just take a look. This guy's got me changing the pixel resolution of my stream while I'm in the middle of the stream, but I respect that. I want it to look good. Let's see, YouTube stream settings, edit settings. Nope. Yeah, if anyone, let's see, Ableton Producer, Twitch says 540. Quality is very bad on YouTube, it says. Yeah, that's weird. So Ableton Live Producer, I have not changed my settings at all. And if you were here this morning and it looked good, I wonder, my Restream and my OBS says the stream signal is excellent. And when I look at my resolution, I'm at 960 by 540 at 30 frames a second. So, yeah, I'm just curious about what could be causing that. I'll even show it to you. We can enter some sort of vortex. Let's see my streams here, 960 by 540. All the streams are solid. The signal looks excellent. So I'm all about being here to help the quality. You know, I'm actually on YouTube right now, and I'm looking at the stream, and it actually looks pretty good. So I wonder, Ableton Live Producer, you know, I'm not going to let this hold us up any longer. I'm looking at YouTube, and I see crisp. So I want to be able to stay focused on our session today, so I'm going to go ahead and just get back into this Ableton thing. Thanks for sidetracking me. Let's see here. Yeah. Cool. So yeah, I mean, it seems like it's looking fine to me, but please let me know because I'm all about it looking as good as it can. um, so yeah, so Scale Aware is where we left off. All you need to do is hit this little purple button right here, and that's going to enable Scale Aware, and of course you can choose your root and your mode. And then if you just start looking around inside of Ableton Tools, you will see, of course, the little purple button for Scale Aware, even in the MIDI clip. And once you turn this on one MIDI clip, every subsequent MIDI clip you create will then just automatically be in key. This, of course, also communicates with the push. If you put the push in key, then Scale Aware will be enabled, and then you can run into a lot of other really, really fun things, like, for instance, the new arpeggiator, which is just really tasty. If I take a look at this guy down here, you'll notice the arpeggiator can be in Scale Aware. This is really, really sick because now you can just like puke notes at it and it's always in key. And I really love, for example, a good example of a really fun Scale Aware device that has some enhanced functions now is the chord effect. The chord effect, for instance, if I turn my arpeggiator off, I can arm my track. I'll just play a couple notes. You guys hear that okay? That scale function does work on the push one, Clayton. Good question. Yeah, all versions of the push had a scale functionality. So, yeah, you can put the push one in key mode for sure. How well it communicates with Live 12, I'm yet to try. I haven't turned a push 1 on in a while, but I know the push 2 and 3, it works great. So check out this function with the scale, or with the chord function. This is really cool. You'll notice you have a learn button. So now I can just like play a chord and it transposes the steps. That's neat. But in addition to that, if I put it into Scale Aware mode, now when I play keys, it doesn't show the semitones, it shows the scale degrees. So I have like a major second and a major third and a nice diminished fifth, considering that those are all weird notes in G minor. In fact, I was in E minor earlier on this track, so now if I change that Scale Aware, same notes now are in key because those notes I played are all in G minor. Oh, except for the major third. So that would have been an F. So I could be like, so you can totally inform the chord device of what you're trying to play, which is neat. But then in addition to that, you can make it and almost all the other MIDI effects be in key, which is really, really tasty. Also, the chord has a strum function now, so this is neat. So I put myself into a chord here. I got a major chord. I'm going to go minor just because fuck major. And then I'm going to say, here's a minor 7 chord, and if I have no strum on, but if I turn that strum up, that's tasty, huh? I get a little strum function, and that's kind of subtleties. It's weird for me to dive in on the chord effect right away. I was excited about that capability. I think it's kind of neat. So I'm going to put my arpeggiator back into key mode, and I'm just going to like launch this clip. In fact, you know what? I was monkeying around with this, but I'm going to crank this up. I was doing some kind of D&B sounding stuff earlier. Let's go ahead and listen to this sketch, and then we can bump into some tips as we go. So as you can see, I've got, I can hit back to arrangement here, and I can tab over to my arrangement view, and I can see my mixer. Isn't that nice? I can look at my MIDI clips, and I can see that they're all in Scale Aware mode because I just put one in scale. So now I could literally let the cat run across the keyboard and everything's going to be in key. Let me take a look at that. I see your guys' tip, and I see that too. There we go. Now you should be able to hear it. Thanks for the heads up. Ableton Live producer, give this guy a job. So we're good now on the audio. For some reason, my audio hijack had to be restarted, but I don't know, that just happens sometimes. Thanks for the heads up. Isaac Anthony in the chat, that's my boy. Hey Isaac, how you doing, dude? So, yeah, so we were talking about Scale Aware and we were talking about the Live 12 interface. Those are all fun, cool things. You'll notice just all around Ableton 12, there's just a lot of like smoothed out looking interface tips. One thing that's really great about this is that, you remember how the notes and envelopes and MPE capabilities were all over here? They moved those to right here now. And they did that just because it's easier, but then also because they saved room for these MIDI modification functions. So there's a generator tab that will allow you to generate new MIDI notes. And then there's also a modification tab. These are like transforms that are going to modify the notes that are in the clip. And that all happens dynamically. You can turn knobs and it just modifies your MIDI clips. Those are all really fun. We'll play with those in a little bit. Yeah, Isaac, dude, long time. Hope you're doing well out there, buddy. So yeah, like even in this case, you know, I've got my mixer up on my arrangement. I could fold up my clips down here. That's just Option Command L like before. They have increased and improved a little bit of navigational key commands. They have a new drop down up here called Navigate. And if you look, take a look. Control bar, session view, arrangement view, clip view. They're all just simple moves like that. Just option and a number for all your navigation. Isn't that slick? Baller. So now I can adjust my levels here as I roll. Let this loop a little bit. This is a sketch I made. Every single sound you're hearing is made with the wavetable. So I just like one night was like in class, I was like, look at the wavetable, let's make a whole track out of it. And like an hour later we had this, so all the sounds are made with the wavetable. So that's not even a new Live 12 instrument, but yes, the wavetable is amazing. So it's kind of a fun little demonstration. Fun. So yeah, so now let's take a look at some other new stuff. The browser I can hit up here and that opens that. That will Option Command B, the original key command, will still open these things, but those new key commands are even easier. You'll notice right away some new stuff that exists in the browser. First of all, the browser has a history now. So if you start navigating around, you can go back or forward through your history, and that's really nice if you get lost. There's like so many things in here. You can use that for navigating to and fro. And then in addition to that, you have these tags. This is amazing because say you find a sound, like, you know, maybe I'll go to my drums and I've got like, let's see here. Look at these filters I have. These filters can sift through all your tags. You can click on any sound you want and you can customize tags for any selected sound. You also can create your own tags. So if you have a new tag you want, you can add a tag right here. So if you have one that's like, you know, elephant farts, you can type that in, and then later on when you type in elephant, it will show up. So you can add metadata tags to any of your assets in your library, which is really sick. And then they will also show up in these filters. You know, so you're like, I want an acoustic, kick. You know, it's going to just sift through those for you. That's pretty sick, right? So in addition to that, now I get to show you like some of my one of my favorite functions in this application in Live 12 is if you have a sound you like, once you click on it, you can customize the tags, but you also get this search for similar sound button. This isn't exactly AI, but pretty damn close. If you click on search for similar sound, it's going to search through your entire library, which in my case is like a couple hundred gigs of samples, and look at how quick it was. And now these are all sounds that are similar to that sound to varying degrees. Now, one thing they told me at Ableton when they introduced this function, they were like, this is going to help you find sounds that you didn't know you had. And I was like, yeah, probably, but I have been my music has become way more diverse sounding because instead of just reaching into the same folders of samples because I know I like them and I'm lazy, instead I'm like finding a cool sound, hitting search for similar sounds, and now it's pulling up all this shit I never knew I even had. So that alone is like really sick, right? That's something that they could have. I just love that feature. Just put it that way. Cool. So yeah, if you're just showing up, I see a couple other people showing up on some of our other streams. James Patrick at Slam Academy. Hope the stream resolution is coming through okay. Give me the word. If anything needs to be adjusted, like volume or resolution or whatever, please let me know. Now I'm going to show you some other tricks. So we did the search for similar sample thing right now. So take a look. If I touch this, I can preview that sound, right? But now listen to what it found that are similar. Notice how they're all kind of like acoustic kicks. That's awesome, right? You can clear it and open the filters up. Let's do like a distorted kick, right? And we can click on one, find similar sounds, and now look at this. Now I've got some similar sounds to that one. Those are very, very not similar, but this is cool, right? Yeah, the search for similar sound thing is neat, and if you guys are following along and you get that, now I'm going to really crack the lid open on this thing. If you take a look inside of a drum rack, and watch what you can do with this. You now have a search for similar sound right on the drum kit. And if you hit that button, you'll notice now you get a previous or next function for your pads of your drum kit. This is so wicked. So if I arm this to record, like let's do the crash and hit that crash symbol. So what you can do is you can just change it out. And it's going to go to the next in the similar sounds list. The first time you hit it, it can take a second because it's going to search and build the list. But then it's nice and fast because just the very first time it's like, okay, let me sift through your library. Isn't that sick? You know what I'm saying? Like, look, let's go to the hi-hats. Let's see, get to those hats. Oh, I gotta go down an octave. Isn't that fun? And the other thing you can do with the search for similar sound is if there's a sound you know you like and you don't want to change it, you can lock it. And then especially on the push, since this is a knob that flips through sounds, they allow you to lock a sound so that way you don't accidentally bump a knob and like lose your cool sample. So that's the search for similar sounds function in the browser, and that shit is really rad. So I threw that drum kit in there just so we could see that function, and that's just a really tasty deal. I love the search for similar sound upgrade. I think it's really powerful. So yeah, I mean, just to do another one, I don't know, like look, I can go to samples and just randomly go to some, like here's like a whistle recording, some random sound. Look, I can hit this, and look, here's other things that are maybe going to be a similar pitch or length.
You gotta back down the back too.
Oh, that's funny. That's my wife singing. Yeah, that was a really weird one to do. It's like a long, like Foley recording.
Breakthrough.
Oh, that's also my wife
Breakthrough.
singing. Nice.
Breakthrough.
That's
Breakthrough.
my wife singing, but she's probably embarrassed if she's listening to the stream. So yeah, you know, that's another cool feature. So just to keep things moving, you'll also notice in the browser when you look around, we talked about history, search for similar sounds. We talked about tags and creating tags and then filters for sifting through stuff. We also down in here in the far left column, we have a couple new functionalities. One in particular is tunings. Tunings, you know, these are like ethnic microtunings or modern experimental temperaments. And what you can do with any of these is you can actually like load them into the tunings window, or you can drag and drop them onto clips. Or my favorite thing to do with them, because you can modify it. Let me see if I go to I'm going to go ahead and make a new MIDI track and grab a wavetable. You know what? In fact, forget about wavetable. I'm going to go ahead and grab Meld. This is our one of our new instruments in live, and it's amazing. Check out Meld. I'm just going to like load it up. It's just got a kind of couple of oscillators here, and I have these macros. We'll talk about this thing in a second. But look, if I arm this to record, it's just going to be playing some sine waves. There's C major, right? Pretty cool. And so now what you can do is if you have a clip running, you can go down here to tunings and you can find some cool ethnic tuning, and you can like drag it right onto the clip, and that'll assign the tuning to the clip, or you'll have a tunings window that you can access through Navigate. And now look, it's just like where the groove pool was. Drop tuning system here. Bop, and you can drop that in, and now you're able, bam, you've got your clips all running with that tuning. You can adjust the fundamental frequency, like the concert pitch, and you can also change how many octaves and degrees. Look, the one I chose has 27 degrees. So let's play C major with this guy. Oh my God! So a whole octave on my keyboard That's just a perfect fifth, right? So let's play a chord. Oh, listen to all that rub. This is just a 7 chord on the major scale. Oh god, that's nasty. But if you were to like, put an arpeggiator on there, it could be pretty cool. Like, look, I'm just gonna smash some keys down. And since I'm at 170, I'm gonna slow this down. Like here's a couple of half steps. Now you can really hear that. You know what, Isaac? It is wrong if you're totally only used to classical diatonic music, but I have a news flash for you. That shit was only invented like 500 years ago, and we've been making music as a human species for over 40,000 years. And the system of whole and half steps is actually pretty new. And so let's just say you were like scoring a anime film that was based in ancient Japan, and you're in there going like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, like you're actually doing it wrong. What you would need to do it right is you need an MPE capable instrument and an ethnic microtuning that's from that time in ethnomusicology. So that way when you create your scales, you're going to be, or create your soundtrack, it's going to actually sound accurate to the music from that period. And for the record, Isaac, I make house music too, and you're not going to use these scales in some house music, but thank God there's more to life than that. So this is pretty cool, huh? So this is the tuning system. So it's all right here, tunings, and you can just drag and drop tunings right down here into your system and pop. You can adjust the lowest note, the highest note, the reference pitch, and all that. And all you need to do is have an MPE capable instrument, which, surprise, surprise, all the instruments in Live 12 are MPE capable. In Live 11, it was just wavetable, sampler, and one other one. But now it's all of them. So that's really great. So anything can work with this. And another way you can use the tunings is if you guys ever checked out the microtuner instrument, it's a Max for Live device. It came out a year ago about. This is super, super dope. You can use this to actually modify the scale files. And for the record, you can actually just do a Google search and Google Scala files. It's SCALA. It's a 25-year-old scale format for creating microtunings with polyphonic MIDI instruments, and you could type in Aphex Twin Scala files and you're going to find all sorts of them where nerds just analyze the microtuning of their favorite music and then they create Scala files, and you can just download them and drag them right into your user library and bop, you'll have your own tunings. Pretty cool, huh? So I'm actually going to delete this tuning out of our tuning system, so we'll be back in C major land. Cool. So now what I'm going to do, watch this. I'll turn the arpeggiator off. I've got the microtuner right here. I can turn this on, and now listen to this scale. And you can go from step to step and adjust the semitones or the sense of every step. Like, look, I'm going to detune this one. And what's neat about this is if you find a cool scale file, like let's try this tertial one. You can drop it right onto the microtuner. It's going to load it up. Oh, maybe you got to drop it. I did this earlier today. There you go. Oh, funny how that... I did this earlier today. Maybe it's just taking a second to load it. Well, check out the scale, the microtuner device. I know I did this earlier today and it was awesome. Maybe I'm just not dropping it in the right place. There we go. Okay, that one worked. So now here's this Al-Farabi 9. I bet this is some like Arabic shit. Nice. That is really tasty. So just for fun, let's put the arpeggiator on. Nice. See, that's beautiful, right? You could almost use it in some house music. It's fucking with you. So yeah, this is cool, huh? So microtuner allows you to modify the tuning files, and then you can save them, of course, as your own Scala files as presets. So that's the tuning thing. I know a lot of people who are like, I make dubstep, I hate notes. Like, that's cool. I'm just showing you this so you can learn what's up with this. But let's get into some of these other functions. So yeah, we talked a lot about the browser. You know, they moved all the modulators into their own unique location. I thought it was confusing how some were like the LFOs and shapers and envelopes, some were audio effects, some were MIDI effects. It was just kind of confusing. But so they moved all those into their own category, which is really, really nice. And there's a couple other subtle improvements too. You can have your own custom directory right here, and then all your places from Live 11 or your previous version of Live are going to show up. So yeah, everybody got that? You got tags. You got filters, you got find similar sounds, you got a couple other categories over here, and you have a search history. Pretty neat, huh? So yeah, that's the browser. It's tight. So I got a question here. MIDI 2, no. Cool. So let's see, what else do we got? Another really neat thing they did in Live 12 is they have this hardware clock reset button. So if any of you guys are familiar with synchronizing external equipment using control voltage and gates or using MIDI. They have a clock reset button that you can show and hide in the MIDI tab of your preferences. So if you just go to your preferences with Command comma, there's a little show resync button. You can show that there. And for me, like, I love using hardware, but it comes out of sync, and especially MIDI, like MIDI sucks. And so in a lot of cases, it's just very laggy and bad. You can just tap that button and that'll resync up all your external equipment. That's kind of a subtle little neat thing. So yeah, this is just everything we've been covering so far. We did scale aware, browser things, clock sync, some MIDI effects. If anyone has any questions, let me know in the chat. I'm just here to chill out with you guys and do a little happy hour with y'all. So we got about a half hour left, and I appreciate you guys spending some time with me today. I will mention real quick that you guys, if you want to really take a deep dive into Ableton, you can get a membership at Slam Academy for $100 a month, and you can do things like this all day long, and it's amazing. It includes 3 hours a week of online labs with our best instructors, and also not 24/7 tech support in our private Discord server, plus access to almost 50 specialty courses through your member dashboard for $100. So you'll probably spend that much next time you go out and have drinks at a club or something. So instead, do something good for yourself and join us. It's a great environment, and the most important thing about Slam Academy is that we have cultivated an environment full of kind, warm-hearted, accepting, inclusive people who treat everyone equally and love working with all different kinds of humans with all different kinds of backgrounds and experience. And so you're going to be welcomed in a ego-free, positive, loving environment where everyone is doing it right, and we just want to help each other out and have fun. So yeah, thanks for the support to everyone who's been members at Slam for a long time, like you, Dalton. And yeah, we're in a really fun growth phase. We got Virtual Riot teaching there 2 nights a week. That's really exciting. If anyone knows who that is, I don't know, cough, Virtual Riot. He's amazing. And everything just keeps getting better and better around there. So come on through. Just go to slamacademy.com, or you can hit me up, jp@slamacademy.com, if you have questions about that. Okay, cool. So let's get into, before we do this really cool macro oscillator synth, I actually want to take a few minutes to play around with the Granulator. So I'm going to go to the Granulator 3, and here we go. This is going to be a blast. So let me know in the chat, anyone here using the Granulator at all? Dalton, I know you have experience using it because you took our sound design course at Slam. But take a quick look at this sexy machine. We still have the 2 tabs, just like the original Granulator. We have the sample tab, and then we have the controls tab, they call it. I usually call it the synthesis tab. But now in the synthesis tab, or controls tab to be accurate, you have a main VCA envelope, but then you also have an auxiliary envelope, and then an LFO that's even a little more flexible than the old one, and then a way better sounding filter than the old one that has stereo spread, which is really, really cool. You get some additional really cool, fun multi-mode and notch filter options that didn't exist in the original Granulator. And then you also get a variation knob. The variation knob is really exciting. You guys see these controls that go across the bottom half of the screen, these zeros? Whenever you touch a knob, the settings for that knob show up here. So like scan you can adjust, and you can adjust the scan distance. Position you can adjust, and you can have those all be MPE sensitive. Variation you can adjust. Variation can control the grain position, the grain size, the transposition, or the volume. And so you can get really wicked functions out of that. And then in addition to all that, my favorite thing about the new Granulator is that it has 3 modes it works in. Classic mode is like the Granulator 1 and 2, where it's just a tiny snippet of sound repeating over and over. Loop, it's more just like a looping sampler, kind of like a traditional sampler in loop mode. And then cloud mode. And I don't even need to tell you how cool that is, because it's like a cloud. So let's go ahead and head up into our samples library. And I see a question here. In Live 11, as you know, you could have both views open. You can. Yes, Brad, you can still use the dual monitor function. That's just up in the view dropdown, second window, and then you can have a second monitor. So, but for those of you who don't know, the Granulator is it's an instrument that works like a sampler, but it does not replace the sampler. What it does is it takes your sound and it breaks it up into tiny sonic particles called grains. And then the grains get sprayed throughout the stereo field, and you can adjust the transposition and size of all the different grains to make like clouds of sonic particles, or you can just treat it like a simple wave scanning synthesizer where you drop a recording in and you just like turn it into a synth. So let's just, I don't know, one of my favorite things to do with the Granulator is to go to, I'm just going to grab a snare drum. So this is a good opportunity to use the filters. So I'll clear those filters out, and I'm just going to say, give me a drum sound. Excuse me. Boopity boop dop da ba doo ba doo boop. I don't really need a whole kit. Still getting used to that search field. I'm so used to just typing stuff. So I'm just going to go snare wave. Here's going to be like a million snare sounds. Gotta go to all. I'll find a snare that's nice and chunky. This exercise is best with like a kind of noisy, crunchy snare. Like even a 909 snare would be fine instead of one of these rim shots. So I'm going to scroll past all these. 808 snares are bogus. So that one's cool. Let's do the dubbers. That's cool. It's got like a little plate reverb on it. So here, check this out. So when I hit notes, you can see it starting to loop, right? And now I can just move this in. You'll remember this, Dalton, from the sound design class. So it's just kind of looping, right? And now I can take the grain size and I can decrease it. I'll turn this up a little bit. Seems like it's a little quiet, huh? Look, now I'm just looping the snare drum. Now look, I can make the grain size really small. And it starts, this is more just like a wave scan synth. Like that's not granular synthesis, that's wave scanning synthesis or resynthesis, right? But where it becomes granular synthesis is if I move in on a cool little chunk, I can zoom in on this thing a little bit. They moved the zoom on me a little bit, and I don't see it anymore. You guys probably see it closer than I do, but now look, if I click right here, I can put this in cloud mode. And what that's going to do is that's going to start randomizing the grain shape. Yeah. And now, let's go to even smaller grain size. And now if I touch the variation control, I can say, what is the variation going to mix up? Because right now it's just going to do the position, and the other ones are all turned off. So as I turn this up, it's going to start scrubbing around in the sound. But if I say, no, let's actually do the grain size as well, that's going to give me more of a chorusing effect. And I could also do the volume for more variation on the amplitude. Let me go up an octave. If I go up too far on this, it just gets really insane. That'd be cool for like a soundtrack. To really get the most out of this, I want a snare with a little more decay. Sure. There we go. Let's try this. So in addition to the variation knob, if I pull this back down and have it on cloud, we'll just hear the straight cloud. And what it is it's creating multiple grains at the same time. But then what I can do is I can increase the scan rate. And so if I have this at 1.00, it's just going to play the snare drum like a normal snare. But if I slow it way down, I can create these scanning functions. And that's basically slowly wave scanning across the sound. Now I gotta watch out for my distance control here to make sure it stays within the range of the sound. Here we go. Yeah, so now check it out. Let's add a little more variation to this. A little thickness. I'm going to put this in hold mode. Now I can let go of the keyboard. And now I can go over the controls function. And yes, very much so. Here's my filter. I've got my LFO modulation controls right here. If I click on the LFO, I can decide what it's modulating and what it's being modulated by. And here's stereo spread. Usually like to keep this just a few cents. And now I can start using this envelope to modulate other things, of course, such as the filter cutoff or whatever I want to. Both the filters have key tracking built in, which is kind of nice. And let's see. There's one other thing I wanted to show off with the Granulator is really neat. I'm kind of like only so-so on this particular sound, so let's try and find a little more chunky of a boy. This might be neat. Turn that scan all the way off so it stays right in the spot. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do this. I'm going to go to my samples library. A really cool thing you can do with the Granulator 3 now is you can actually record audio straight into it. So look, if I click on I/O right here, I can just hit capture and I'll be able to record audio straight into it, which is pretty cool. But I still want to try this. Let me turn the search field off. Just spinning the roulette wheel, finding a cool sound. Let's take this one. Here we go. This has a little more sustain. That's kind of what I was looking for. Look at this now. Let's let it scan a little bit. See how we're scrubbing across the sound? We're in cloud mode. Let's add some more variation. Nice notch would be cool. Yeah, look at that. Get this thing to kind of like talk almost. Seems like it's in mono. There we go. Oh, that variation in cloud mode is cool. It's creating all sorts of neat shit. And again, look, if you turn scan off, turn variation off, put it in classic mode, it's just a tiny loop of a sample, right? But you're able to just lush it up with that cloud mode and spread. Isn't that yummy? A lot of fun stuff in here. So yeah, this is the Granulator 3, and I'm just kind of like, just barely touching the iceberg here, but it's pretty powerful shit. I'm trying to get this thing to modulate a little more. Let's go ahead and take that LFO out of cloud sync. We should be getting motion on this thing. I think this still might be one of the few things in the beta so far that's still seeing a few glitches. Our LFO is not modulated. So, but here's our amplitude envelope. Let's play around with this a little bit. I see Quint in the chat. What's up, Quint? Our voice count got a little overloaded. Let's back that off. Ooh. Speaking of Granulator, Oh yeah, so I had my levels up a little too loud. I'm trying to keep it really quiet in the studio so I don't have to wear headphones because I'm being lazy. So let's turn that hold off and just play a couple notes here. Yeah, I think I sunk my battleship on the Granulator, but it's a pretty cool machine, huh? Yeah, I love it. Oh, now this is working? No. I don't know what the fuck's going on with this thing. Admittedly, if anything's going to be a little unstable during beta land, it's a Max for Live device, especially that guy. Let's just try this one more time. Give the Granulator one little twirl and then we'll shift on over to Meld. In fact, now that I think about it, it's 10 to 6 or 5 to 6. I better stop with the Granulator, and I'm just going to say this is one of the new instruments in Ableton. It's really wicked. It's a granular synthesizer with a whole bunch of fun classic synthesis controls, and with its new cloud mode and variation control and stereo spread, you're able to make even more lush, captivating soundscapes using this instrument, and it's included in Live 12. Cool. So I'm going to delete that thing now just because of the interest of time. My tendency now is to spend an hour and a half dinking around with it, but I'm going to stop myself, and instead I'm going to open up Meld. And now for you synthesizer geeks out there, this is probably the thing you are going to be, one of the things you're going to be most excited about in Ableton 12. So Meld. This is making sure the chat's all under control. I got 3 chat windows open. So Meld, let's see if I can zoom in on this a little. Yeah. So let's see if I can get that angle a little better. There we go. So Meld is a 2 oscillator synthesizer, right? But what's really one of the things that's most exciting about it, probably the thing that's most unique, and Quint, you asked, hi Quint, what's my favorite feature so far? I don't know if I have a favorite yet. I've been using it for about 3 months. And I probably think that Roar, the multiband spectral distortion audio effect, is probably my favorite thing, but there are a lot of close seconds. So Quint, sorry it took me 10 minutes to answer your question. I've just been debugging the Granulator as we go. So again, this is still like an early beta phase, so it's just starting to get ready for the masses. But back to Meld. What makes Meld different than other synthesizers is the way the oscillators are actually macro oscillators, they like to call them. And what this means is that when you choose an oscillator wave, of which you can see we have, I don't know, about 20 here. Once you choose one, this is like the oscillator out of Chiral, that really famous instrument that came out just a year or two ago. Now we have amount and shape. Let's go ahead and listen. I'm just grabbing a random one. So here, let's see if this is, yeah. So that's like some FM synthesis on a folding sine wave. So that's cute, right? But now notice if we try our next oscillator wave in the list, these knobs do different stuff. That's fun, right? Let's go to the next one. Here's simple FM. What's neat is if you modulate these and either of these 2 knobs and then flip through the waves, it just keeps modulating those knobs, but the knobs do totally different things. Here's chip. You'll notice that it has the scale aware button in it. That means that if I'm in E minor on my control bar, which I am, these are all E minor notes, this thing is kicking. Let's go to the next one. Here's shepherd's pie. It's like a shepherd's tone. And this width I think is bipolar. Yep, bipolar rate control. So that's fun. That's kind of goofy. Here's... Look at this. So yeah, these are macro oscillators. You get about 20 some of them, and they all do different stuff. This one is kind of like little clickies. You can make like clouds with this guy. That's pretty fun too, huh? Noise loop. Slow it way down, it's just sustaining like a sample and hold circuit, almost like an LFO. That's cool. It's like some radio static. Filtered noise. You know what this is going to sound like. Little bandpass filter. Here's bit crunch, little 8-bit. That's fun too, right? So I'm just flipping through these, get radio and more radio static junk. This one's really weird. If you have these all the way down, it's just like occasional little clicks. But if you turn it way up, you get into like, you know, clouds of grains. Can be kind of cool. Rain and bubbles are the next two, and these are really fun too. This one is, you know, you can hear what it's doing. Let's slow the rain down. Fun, huh? And check out bubbles. See if I get to the right octave. Oh, I'm way up. Okay. Listen to this. Isn't that fun? Crazy, huh? So that's the end of the list, but we can go back up to the top. And some of these harmonic FM shapes are really cool too. So we've got our regular basic shapes. You know, this is like straight out of Wavetable or Vital or Serum. Little waveform bend with a tone control. Dual basic shapes. And this is creating harmony, obviously. And you can detune the distance between the layers. Goes up to an octave or down an octave, so there's all sorts of scaling there. That's kind of neat. Noisy shapes is fun. Square, this is square with sync, and you can adjust the offset between the two frequencies just like a normal oscillator sync math. So that's a synced square wave, obviously. Here's a square wave with a perfect fifth. That's fun, right? And adjust the pulse width of the square. You know, before we keep messing around with this will be fun. Watch, if I pop up this disclosure triangle, I can see the modulation matrix. A really fun thing to do would be to grab oscillator 1, macro 1 and 2, and let's modulate those with like a slow triangle wave. So I'm going to go LFO 1, LFO 2. We haven't talked about LFO effects yet, but that shit is really fun. So now macro 1 is being modulated by LFO 1, and macro 2 is being modulated by LFO 2, and I can see the LFOs right here. So now I can adjust their speed here. I'm going to put these in triangle wave. I just prefer a triangle for a nice little scan. There we go. Now we're getting some bass farts. I know you guys love that shit. It's like, let's do that E because we're in E minor. Let's see what else we got. Here's a sub bass. The sub bass I don't need to play for you. We get a tone. Not sure what the aux does on sub bass. That's interesting. I don't know. Swarm sign. Notice there's our scale aware function. So all the additional notes it creates in spacing are going to be in E minor in this case because that's where my global scale aware setting is set to. I'm going to go up an octave or two. See, now is where I don't want all that modulation on this for this patch. Let me turn those off quick just by double clicking. Listen to the swarm sign, it's beautiful. More spacing spreads them out, but they stay in E minor. And then you get swarm triangles and squares and saws, and these are all doing that same scale-aware swarm. Harmonic FM is fun, obviously. We're just surfing around in some sine waves here, no big deal. So now we made it through the whole list. So now, got a cool, weird harmonic sound. Let's go ahead and add some basic shapes to this. Maybe I'll kick this up an octave and this one down. Go to my square wave on this basic shapes list. Oh, look, Cameron from Cuba is here, buddy. Yes, one love, homie. It's great to see you. We're playing around with Live 12. We got Meld pulled up right now. We were just doing a little kind of sonic research, not really making any music, just playing around with the waveforms. But right now we have 2 macro oscillators. We were just playing around, exploring what the new macro designs are, and they're very fun. And then as you can see real quick, here's a new thing I'll show you guys. In addition to having this macro oscillator concept, which is just kind of new, you'll notice if you click on the LFOs, first of all, you have envelopes and LFOs that are dedicated to each of the oscillators. So I have oscillator A envelopes and LFOs, and then I have oscillator B envelopes and LFOs. So I have 6 LFOs and 4 envelopes that are dedicated just to the macros primarily, but you can use them to modulate anything, as you can see by the modulation matrix. But now, one thing that's really sick about this is the LFOs have this thing called LFO effects. So Quint and Dalton and you other high-powered geeks out there, check out how amazing this is. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to modulate the harmonic FM amount with LFO1. So I go LFO1, oscillator macro 1. I'll take this LFO and I'm going to just say, look here, look at our LFO shapes. We're in basic shapes right now, so we can morph between triangle and saw. But look, I can change these. Look at our different shapes. Make it a ramp, an exponential ramp, or an exponential saw. There's wander. It's kind of like a random sine. Alternate, you know, it's like a pulse width, but wait, we're just getting started on this. Check this out. Here's a Euclid. It's almost like an envelope, right? Let's give it a little more mod depth. That's cute. So look at these LFO shapes, right? Pulsate. Ooh. Chance of pulsation. But I'm going to go back to maybe like, let's do our basic shapes just to be simple for a sec. Now look at this LFO effects. These are algorithmic effects you can apply to distort the LFO shape. Look at all these. You can gate it, you can skew it in different polarities, you can quantize it, you can random step it, you can distort it like clipping it and rectifying it. You can slew it, like slow it down. Let's do a little slew. Slew up and down, that'll turn a saw into like a sine. And now I can choose my shape, and look, this is the waveform I'm making by slewing it. So we can start adding distortion effects to our LFO shapes. Let's try a little more wonky of a one, like maybe, let's just try the square first. And look at our slope control. If you want to influence that, turn up L2. And you can start to basically create influential shapes over your LFO. This is called LFO effects, and this is a really cool little thing that it's kind of new to the world of synthesis as far as I know, having algorithmic distortion effects for your LFO shapes. It's kind of a neat idea, isn't it? So that's another thing that's cool about Meld. So Meld has these multi-mode macro oscillators and then LFO distortion effects and a pop-up modulation matrix that's really great. And then in addition to that, and I kind of feel bad because I'm not really like making any music, I'm just holding these keys down. I'm just gonna hold a little like perfect fourth down. Decrease my mod depth here. Make that a little smoother. And now look at this. Check out our filter options. State variable modes, so that can be, if you choose one of these, you get high pass, low pass, band pass, or notch. Let's just listen to our top patch. So we get our multi-mode, right? But then we also now have low pass, high pass, band pass, dedicated ones, and these have the dedicated cytomic filter distortion algorithms like the Korg MS-20, the French Oscar synth, additional. Let's do like the low pass MS-20, and now you have drive, so you're adding that beloved Korg MS-20 drive. So that's nice too, huh? So now look at these. We've got really fun filter modules here. Vowel, combing filters. These resonators are awesome. The membrane resonator is like carpal strung synthesis, if you're familiar with things like the corpus or the collision. I gotta get over my amp envelope and get this thing resonating just a little more. Sounds just like that Mutable Instruments rings module. You can key track this too, and it'll resonate in key with your music, which is really cool. The plate resonator is really cool too. Listen to that joint. Let's go ahead and add our basic shapes back in. Now on the output of the whole instrument, we also have some saturation. We also have unison and spread. Let's add a little stereo spread to this. And some unison. This is cool, right? So now it took us that long to explore every option in Meld, but we did it. Good job. Macro oscillators, all the LFOs and envelopes, plus the LFO effects, which are really cool. And then we have these really great multi-mode filters that do all sorts of cool resonance and combing filter shit. So by the time we got to the end of it, we were finally able to make a cool sound. And that's my cue to go ahead and grab roar. When I grab roar, it's an audio effect, it drops it on the track, and it's a distortion effect. But if I hit this disclosure triangle, now I get roar up here. Roar is a distortion clipper, and I can go ahead and choose my clipping mode right here. I have analog modeled and digital clipping tools that are all built in. They're very fun, and they do all sorts of really cool stuff. Here's the rectifier. Got a little loud there, baby. I'll turn my studio down. I can turn the dry wet mix back so we can preserve some of those beautiful natural harmonics of that sound. So look, this is my distortion circuit. I can drive it, and then I get a low pass filter on the output. Isn't that tasty? I'm going to decrease my voice count because this thing is so lush, it's overloading a little bit. Now watch what you can do with Roar. This is amazing. Roar has 2 LFOs, an envelope follower, and a random generator, and a mod mix. So I can go ahead and take, okay, let's actually have the stage 1 rectifier amount. I can just touch it. I'm in half rectification. I can touch it, and I can say, so rectification takes the bottom half of the wave and folds it up to the top. So instead of a sine, you have like a dual little mountain shape. But what I can do is I could take, let's use the random modulator, and we'll modulate the stage 1 amount. Shaper 1 amount. noise. And you can see that thing kind of organically moving around based on these shapes. And I can try different modes here too. It's pretty cool, huh? Wow. So now, where this thing really gets spicy, I mean, I haven't even turned up the drive yet. Well, what you can do is in the modes down here for routing, you can put the distortion circuits, you can do a single one, or you can have multiple in series. Now I get a second one right after it. Let's go ahead and do some digital distortion for fun. Check out this polynomial joint. That's cool, right? So that's series, but wait, hold on. There's also parallel where they both are affecting the dry signal. Which sounds better for this patch, right? Because it's not one distortion of distorting another distortion. They're both on the dry signal. So I kind of like that. So I'm going to actually fold that up and double click to fold it up. And I'm just going to go ahead and grab just another instance of roar because I want to do some spectral or multi-band distortion. This will be really fun on this sound because we have high frequencies, low frequencies, and bass. So what we can do is we can go to this routing option here again and we can put this in multi-band mode. And now you bet I got a bass, a mids, and a highs for my distortion. Oops, I thought I clicked on multi-band there. There we go. So now take a look at this. Let's try some of the tube on the bass. I love the tube distortion on the bass. And then we can go to the tops. Let's do the tops and do some digital stuff. How about Bit Crusher on top? And Bit Crush is cool, but wait, they have this fractal mode, which is like also like digital, but even more tasty. Turn the output gain down. I don't want to be going in the reds. Cool, huh? What should we put on the mids? I mean, look at this. Can you believe this? Oh my god. Diode clipper is like solid state distortion on the mids. I'm going down into the low end, okay? Because we're about to wrap this session up and I want you guys to have some nightmares. I'm putting this in mono. Look at this shit. Can you believe this? So I got a tube on the bass, I got a solid state distortion on the mids, and then I got this algorithmic fractal distortion on top. Look at that business. Let's move around some of these functions. I'm going to go ahead and take the mid-range shaper, put some noise on that. I'll use an envelope follower on this high frequency guy. You can drive the envelope follower to get a little more love out of it. Now we're getting more motion out of that thing. Wild, huh? So this is roar. You got all these different modes. Each mode employs the 3 different distortion circuits into different digital or analog modeled clipping models, and then you can of course drive them, bias them, and then each of them get their own low pass filter, which is just really nice. The envelope follower and noise generator are great for like organic movement. Otherwise, of course, you have some simple basic LFOs as well. You can sync or knot them, and you can even morph and bend those LFO shapes for fun. You can curve them too. Look at this. Damn. Pretty fun, huh? So yeah, it's a really, really fun instrument. So now that we've like heard that for a minute, let's go ahead and let's drop our beat again that we were making. Or that we just had up earlier just for fun. I'm just going to do the drums and the snare drums. See here. Yeah, and these perks. And then let's use that bass sound we were just making. I got arpeggio too. I want that dotted. I got a pad too. Yes, so now we're going to use this for our bass, the sound we just made. Oh yeah, here we go, perfect. Try to do a little run there. Playing an E minor. Let's try that out. So now look, I've got these notes in here. I just played a little bass line for the groove, okay? I'll put a little sidechain compressor on there just because, you know, you kind of have to do that with this kind of bass. So I'm just going to toss that on real quick, sidechain it from my little wavetable kick drum. So we did a little theoretical exploration. Now just for my own mental health, I need a few minutes of making music, okay? So take a look at our notes that we have here. First of all, I'm going to solo this track again. And now I can go to my notes. I can just pop them up right here like a good boy. So I can see the notes and the instrument. That's great. And now look, I have note generators in here. This is generative algorithmic functions for adding new notes. And then I also have these transform functions. I'm just going to go to quantize right away. And as long as I have transform on, it's going to quantize my notes. And then I can actually choose my grid. And as long as transform stays on, everything I do is dynamic. Look, if I turn it down, it's back to my original performance. And then I can turn it up and it can lock into where I want it. I'm going to maybe go to eighth notes. Adjust this. I'm going to fold my notes and I'm going to put it in scale. It's kind of fun. Okay, cool. Yeah, so that's working, right? Let's bring those drums back in, huh? Because drums. We're just gonna run the kick and the hi-hat and the snare for the drum machine. So we should add some more like transmogrifications, huh? Like what do? We can add ornaments, which are like embellishments and pickup notes and flams. We can arpeggiate notes. That might be neat to try a little arpeggiation. Transform it. So now we're going to slow that way down. Turn the gate up. And it went way too low, right? So we can decrease the steps. Oh yeah, dude, that's better than the thing I played. Turn that gate down a little bit to get a little more eighth note wobble in there. Now watch this little trick. You can actually grab notes and you can right click and then you can start splitting the notes up. I've only done this a couple times. Crop clip to time selection, group notes, join notes, fit time range, chop notes on the grid. That's what it is, Command E. Yeah, let's do that. Look at that, so it'll chop the notes right on the grid. Funny, let's grab all those and hit Command E. So now they're all cut right on the grid. God, that's awesome. I'm gonna add a little bit more envelope modulation to this thing. Let's see, I want to do a little filter modulation to oscillator B from envelope 1. Let's see. Now I go to envelope B. Modulation envelope filter, there you go. Yeah, just chopping those up on the grid was slick, right? I can hit Command 1 and select all and hit Command E again. Now they're all on 16th notes. That's eighth notes if you're talking 170. You know what I don't like about that though? Because I like those sustaining notes because they're really bringing in some kind of more greasy quality. So we can go ahead and extend those notes just by turning up the gate. Yeah, it brings in that overtone sound. That's fun, huh? So yeah, these are all just different kind of cool modifiers you can apply, and it's pretty tasty. I think for the last little nugget I'll show you guys, I'm just going to go ahead and grab like another instance of Meld. And I'm going to show you one more little MIDI note generator thing that's really cool, and then I totally got to go. So check it out. If I play some chords here. That's cute. But what I can do here is I can just make an empty clip. And then right here in the generative functions, I have all these great generators. These are really, really fun. But there's one called stacks. These are chords. I'm just going to go down to one chord, and I can change my chord shape, and look, it automatically generates a chord for me. Nice, huh? Change the chord shape. You want more? You can sustain it for longer. Duration is right here. I kind of like that, a little extra eighth note on the half of the bar, but now look, add another chord. This one we're going to play in a different... Yes. Isn't this fun, huh? Now let's modulate that, we'll take LFO1 to filter 1 just for fun. Give it some tremolo. Like you want another chord, just hit plus. Change it up. Look at that shit, huh? Now watch this. Now I can go to my transforms, and I can use the strum function. This is super cool. Look at this. Oh man, that's amazing. Isn't that fun? Oh my god, let's do a little more buzz. God, right? Putting roar on these chords. I'm going to put a little bit of stereo spread on those chords so they're in stereo, and I'm going to do mid-side roar. So now I have a mono roar. And then I have one for the side bands. Let's add some digital distortion to the side bands. Look at that, we're putting diode distortion, but only on the unique frequencies on the left and right channel. Oh my god. You guys pick up what I'm laying down? Look what's happening right now on the screen. I mean, you guys sat with me for an hour while we listened to different oscillator waves, and, you know, and eventually we got to a point where it was like, yo, like, can we make music? It's fun, right? Listen to that craziness. So we use the chord generator to create that stuff. It's pretty fun, huh? Just checking on the stream status here. Is it mesmerizing or what? I mean, that's just nuts, huh? So we got to use Meld and we got to use Roar, and we tried using the Granulator. It was okay, but we kind of had a few glitches. But for the most part, it's cool. It works. And really, I mean, for the most part, it's cool. The Granulator 3 is amazing. I just it was glitching out on me today. Filter LFO wasn't working. But look, these are some of the new things in live. So just as a recap, we covered browser functions. We covered scale aware. We covered search for similar sounds in the drum kit. We covered Scala files and tuning. We covered couple of the new instruments and effects, and that was a pretty good start. So I promised I'd be done by 6:15, and I just suck at stopping on time because there's so many fun things to cover. But I'm definitely here to answer any questions in the chat if anyone has any. But then other than that, I should probably wrap this up pretty quick. I kind of was just going off on this thing. I'm still obviously getting comfortable with it myself, so thanks for taking the time just to play with Ableton with me. What's oh no? Dalton, what's oh no? Did we lose connection? I'm scared. The chat's been really quiet today. This morning... Oh, past time. Okay, good. This morning the chat was popping off, and I think there's more people here tonight, but everyone's all quiet. I think it's like happy hour. But I wanted to get back to see... Yeah, I see the chat. I'm glad... So who is Brad? You've been here hanging out with me. I appreciate it. I was looking for a little roster, trying to get back over to that. There we go. Yeah, it's been fun hanging out with you guys. I really enjoyed sharing some of these live 12 tips and tricks. As you can see, I've been on it for a couple months, but there still are a couple functionalities that are still like kind of working the kinks out. And I myself am still getting comfortable with some of these moves, but just recapping other things we covered. We talked about how there's a new navigation drop down. The navigation is really handy to get around those simplified key commands for showing everything. And that, of course, also pivots just on the idea of being able to not only see the device window, but the clip window at the same time, and then also the mixer on the arrangement view. So yeah, I think I just kind of in the past couple minutes recapped everything. I'm feeling a little random because there's just so many new features. But I'm having fun showing it off with you guys and hanging out. So, yeah, who is Brad? Is Brad Runyon, my dude. Thanks for coming through and hanging out with me. I didn't realize that was you, Brad. So Dalton, Brad, Isaac. I'm trying to get to my roster. My Restream software is choking up on me, but pretty sure a couple of you guys. I know I just really appreciate you coming down and hanging out with me. Cameron, James, Quint, Dalton, Isaac, Brad. I think that Ableton Live producer person was annoyed with the resolution on YouTube, but it seemed like it was fine on my end. Clazer, the Laser. It's just fun hanging out with everyone. Thank you guys for coming through and keeping me company. If anyone has any last questions about live or whatever, just let me know. Otherwise, yeah, thanks for kind of going on this random kind of exploration with me. I didn't really have anything scripted. I just wanted to open up live and play with it. So that's what we did. So thanks for going on this wild ride with me. And yeah, I just hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your night. That sound cool? I'm going to be lost in this sauce for the next like 4 or 5 months shooting all new videos for Ableton. Or for Ableton and for Slam. So if you guys want to keep in touch with me, you know how to get a hold of me, JP at Slam Academy. Otherwise, just slide on into the Slam Academy Discord if you're an alumni and shoot me a DM and say what's up. Great. Yeah, so James, great to see you. Brad, Dalton, Isaac, everyone else. Thanks a lot for being here, everyone. And with that, I hope you have a wonderful, safe evening, and we will see you guys on the flip side. Peace.